What's up, YouTube? Kenn is here, back again with another video. So I'm here with our DeLacy, who is the vicar for office for faith formation for youth and young adults.
Exactly right.
Pretty mouthful.
I still have to concentrate every time I say it.
So, Father DeLacy, so what is your role as the vicar for this office?
Great, Ken. Thank you so much. So it's a great role that I have. So I oversee 4 other offices in the role that I have. I oversee catechetical formation, which is responsible for CCDs and preps, the ministry with youth, which is youth ministry from middle school through high school. Also the ministry with young adults, and that's from 18 to 39 is the largest definition of that. And then also the CYO. So that's that. There's a great opportunity for outreach with sports and spirituality. And so they're the main offices that I work with. And then I also have a role of overseeing the Newman Centers in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and the campus ministries at our high schools, the Archdiocesan high schools, and then a lot of liaison and consultation with the Office of Catholic Education. So basically, my job is to just help to make sure that we have as enthusiastic an outreach for anyone that's 40 and younger, essentially, and to try to help to kind of cultivate that. And so it's essentially supporting those that are engaging in these ministries. One particular thing that I'm very interested in, and by design, with these different ministries, a lot of times we lose a lot of membership. What do I mean by that? A number of the students that go to CCD and prep aren't necessarily staying in the practice of the faith. They're not necessarily plugging into youth ministry. So one of my roles is how to get individuals to transition from one ministry to the next as they're growing, so that they grow up in the faith. How do we get those that are in prep to youth ministry? How do we get those in youth ministry into college ministry, and college ministry into young adult ministry? And how do we keep them in our high schools and all that fun stuff? So we don't have a comprehensive plan of exactly how we're doing that, but I'm excited for the prospect of being able to solve this problem.
Okay, excellent. So are you in charge with like hosting events? Do you attend events, things like that?
Yeah. So there would be a lot of events that we're connected to. At the time of this recording, in a week and a half, the youth office is hosting the local NCYC. There's the National Youth Catholic Congress is what it's called. And it happens now every year. This is the first year it happens every year. Matter of fact, at the time of this recording, Archbishop Prez is traveling to the West Coast. It's the first time they're having this on the West Coast. And every other year it'll be on the West Coast. And then every other year, which will be our on years, it's in Indianapolis. So the Archbishop is the chaplain essentially for the ministry that produces the National Catholic Youth Congress. So because of his connectedness and enthusiasm for it, we're trying to kind of raise up an enthusiastic group to go there. So hopefully this time next year, I'll be talking to a group of seminarians about how many we have going to Indianapolis for this Congress, and to develop a culture around this. We have on the off years a one-day event connected for our teenagers just right here. It's going to be an Immaculata in a year and a half. So that's a great event coming up. And there's other kind of youth events mostly connected with, exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. There's a lot of great young adult events that are happening throughout the Archdiocese I get a chance to plug into. We have a lot of theology on taps. There's a lot of speaker series. There's a lot of kind of socials, happy hours, and that type of thing. So I get to plug into those, as well as also a lot of youth retreats, a lot of young adult retreats that either I lead or I get to attend and help out with, and that type of thing. There's a lot of leadership meetings, and one of the things that we try to do in our offices is cultivate leadership formation. So then that way, these ministries always have really developed leaders that are well trained and that type of thing. But for instance, tonight I have the privilege of going to Bucks County in St. Robert Bellarmine for an event that's called Catechist Night Out. So any of the catechists in our prep and CCD programs all throughout Bucks County are invited to St. Robert Bellarmine tonight, and I have a chance to give a presentation on the Eucharist, kind of connected to the Eucharistic revival, and that's been a joy in my role. So far I've visited 4 counties, and tonight will be 3 counties so far. Tonight will be the 4th, and then next week I'll be finishing at my home county of Delaware County, so which is always a joy and privilege. So I would say the various ministries I'm involved with, it's a lot of event-driven things that a lot of times we produce, and then I get invited to a lot of events. I could almost be doing something every single night of the week if I wanted to. I try to avoid that.
That's wonderful. So since you're the vicar, is this basically mainly for outreach for faith formation? Is there like vocations or anything related to?
Yeah, I don't care.
Work?
I don't care about vocations anymore.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Bad joke. Bad joke. So I would say, I think it was my time though to make the link of vocations, since I had been vocation director for a long time. I was your vocation director. Very happy, very proud of that fact. And so I think some of the reasons why the Archbishop wanted me in this role of vicar of faith formation with youth and young adults is because of the document produced by Pope Francis called Christus Vivit. He had an extraordinary synod gathering of bishops and young people throughout the world, and to develop what youth and young adult ministry should look like. And there's 9 major components. The last 2 major components was that all ministry to the young church should be vocational. And that's the broader sense of vocations. It's not just trying to encourage those men that are called to the priesthood into the priesthood. It's trying to encourage every young person to come in touch with for what purpose did God make them, and give them the tools to pursue that. So I think the good work I had and then so all ministry should be vocational. That's the second to last component. Then the last component that the Pope has put forward is that we should be giving discernment tools at every level of ministry to the young church. So I think my time as vocation director really intensely informed the Archbishop's judgment to put me into this role, so that the skill set that I developed as vocation director, I can help to apply to a broader base of the life of the church and encourage everyone to discern their vocation. So I'm very enthusiastic for that. But I guess in my role as vicar, the Archbishop is fond of describing what my role as vicar is. He says, everywhere that I am, he is vicariously present through me, which is kind of like pretty powerful, and I'm very humbled by that. So I can offer the Archbishop's greeting, I can offer the Archbishop's blessing, and it's meant to kind of show that tie of how enthusiastic the Archbishop is for the young church. But I would say, in addition to cultivating this universal sense of vocation, it's also to evangelize and form and hopefully raise up to missionary disciples is what the ultimate goal is. So we have envisioned a lot of how to do this, but the vision is still very much unfolding. We haven't found the silver bullet answer to all of our problems yet, but we are certainly enthusiastically working on how can we evangelize and form and raise up a generation of missionary disciples.
Wonderful. Thank you, Father.
You're welcome.
So one more question. Have you seen any growth as vicar, just like entering these parishes? Have you seen any growth with the youth and the young adults? Are they going back to church? Are they fueled with fire for love for Christ? Have you seen that kind of growth?
Yeah, no, I haven't. No, but I'm joking. I'm very hope filled. So there has been good fruitfulness. As we know, like the numbers in general aren't positive, but the group that we're working with at every level, there's a great deal of just great enthusiasm. Archbishop Perez has a very hope-filled and dynamic vision of how things should be happening. So we're bringing online several kind of exciting and dynamic things. Our next youth endeavor that will be new, in addition to NCYC, we're engaging with this camp that's called Camp Damascus. It's kind of based off of an evangelical model of running camps that an evangelical group called Young Life has been doing for years with great success. It's obviously an enthusiastically Catholic version where we're very Marian in this and we're very Eucharistic in it. It's a camp that's ran in Ohio that the Archbishop got to know why he was the Bishop of Cleveland. And then this camp is very intentionally coming to the East Coast and we'll have a campsite in Wilmington, or in the Wilmington Diocese, that is, in Delaware. And so we're very excited to plug into that, because it over the course of a week, starting with middle school students, there's retreats throughout the week. There's missionaries that get formed from this. It's a very dynamic and interactive group. So I would say we're in the crawling stages of our ministry, because there's a lot of new initiatives that even haven't really taken root yet, that we're still in the planning stages. I think once we bring the Archbishop's vision online fully, which is also shared with the Pope is conforming the Archbishop's vision to a great extent. Once we bring the vision fully online and fully engaging it, I'm anticipating seeing a lot of great growth. And in the interim between, the Archbishop's missionary discipleship initiative and the other good things that he's generating, there's a lot of youth and young adults that are powerfully connected, and that we can really cultivate a really powerful and dynamic time of outreach and growth and that type of thing. So I'm very excited. And then just to say, a lot of what I do is I work with leaders that work with leaders, and work with the leaders directly. What do I mean by that? A lot of our ministry, we work with catechists, we work with DREs, we work with youth ministers, we work with young adult leaders, and there is a great sanctity in these ranks, and a great deal of intentionality for cultivating a dynamic mission in the church. It's been an honor and privilege to see people's faith and see all the sacrificing and love that they're pouring out into these ministries. So we really have a very dynamic base of those that are furthering the gospel in a very dynamic way, that I have the privilege to work with, and I think we're going to be giving them even greater tools to be more successful and to grow their ranks.
Thank you, Father. That was wonderful. Thank you for joining us, and yeah, thank you very much, Father.
Ken, it's my pleasure, and I literally had nothing better to do. So thank you, Ken.
Thank you very much, Father.